Let's talk about Elon Musk's Twitter takeover, hitting a new bump in the road as the social media giant temporarily closes its offices after a wave of employees parted ways with Twitter. That came after Musk's ultimatum to commit to working, in his words, in an extremely hardcore manner, or he said employees can just walk.
Musk might just have to roll back his ultimatum, though, and he might have to swallow his pride. Now, this is something that, he hasn't done or isn't very good at doing. He, isn't great at admitting when he's wrong.
Amid all the chaos at Twitter, Elon Musk announcing that, quote, Kathy Griffin, Jordan Peterson and Babylon Bee have been reinstated to Twitter. Also tweeting, new Twitter policy is freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach.
Tesla, #1 on today's list. And guess what? Despite no big news at the EV automaker, other than the stock price sinking to a near 2-year low.
In this video, Tesla stock continues to get smoked and the fake news continues to be equal parts wrong, stupid, and heading towards an inevitable and well-deserved extinction. And while we're on the subject of the fake news, the hate stream, what's it called? The purveyors of the Untrue narrative going extinct, deservingly so. Have you guys heard of CNN, the Crisis News Network? I'm sure you have. Have you heard this? On screen now. In 2021, the Crisis News Network, CNN, one of the most reputable sources of fake news, drama, distraction, chaos, and a distorted view of reality. Accurate portrayals of what's happening on Earth at any one point in time, had an average total of 773,000 viewers per day. CNN per day. Now, to put that in context, give or take, this video will probably do roughly 1/10 of that. Some dickhead on YouTube. One guy, literally just me, no employees. And if you thought that was farcical and points out how the mainstream media is, and by the way, there is a point here later in the video, we're going to watch the morons in Yahoo Finance self-immolate to the point of absolute embarrassment. If you thought this was bad, if you thought some dickhead on YouTube's getting 10% of the viewers of CNN in a single day, if you thought that was a bit weird, it's not weird, it makes sense when you think about it. CNN horse shit garbage. This guy makes some sense sometimes. If you thought that was insane, did you guys hear a while ago CNN launched CNN Plus, a paid premium subscription service, which soon was shut down? I think they invested about $100 million in that disaster. Believe me, I'm getting to a point. Prior to this absolute train wreck being shut down, we learned there were less than 10,000 daily users of CNN Plus. Now, to put that in context, and this is the point, the Crisis News Network were charging memberships around $5, $6 a month or $60 per year, comparable to my current Patreon prices. But remember, they're going up on November 20th, so if you want to join, now is the time. Card in corner, link in description. CNN Plus was charging about the same amount of money as I am on Patreon and had attracted about the same number of paying users. Now, this isn't apples to apples, they're daily users, not total subscribers, but it's comparable. My Patreon page has over 9,000 monthly users. CNN Plus failed to get 10,000 daily users for comparable money, and they shut down the whole service after pissing away about $100 million setting it up. One guy, entire fake news network. Why is it that such a small portion of the Crisis News Network audience was willing to pay for their content? Because it's horse shit. And this is the point. The mainstream media, the fake news, the controllers of the Untrue narrative are walking fossils. They will all be extinct. Centralized legacy corporate media is done. It is over. We're seeing the last desperate gasps for air from these dinosaurs. And that ties perfectly into the content of today's video. We have a triple or a quadruple dose of the Yahoos on Yahoo Finance. Now look, I don't want to be too mean here, okay? I'm sure they mean well. I'm sure they're trying, but meaning well and trying are totally independent from knowing what the fuck you're talking about, making sense, and actually adding value. So sit back, relax, grab your popcorn and enjoy the show. We're gonna watch the Yahoos on Yahoo Finance self-immolate, embarrass themselves, say things that are completely inaccurate, and further my point that legacy media is already dead. And if you'd like to give a single or a double bird to the fake news, I highly encourage you to join Patreon and probably hurry up and do that before the 20th of November price increase. Join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment. Well over 220 exclusive videos and counting fast, plus access to my Tesla price targets. And obviously, if I've managed to attract about as many paying members as CNN's $100 million CNN Plus service, and I haven't since had to shut down the service because no one was interested in joining and no one wanted to stick around and watch the content, there might be something of value there. Just saying.
Elon Musk's Twitter saga continues as the social media outfit told employees that its office buildings will be temporarily closed. The announcement comes amid reports that large numbers of staff were quitting after new owner Elon Musk called on them to sign up for long hours at high intensity or quit. Well, guys, this is one way to weed out the weekends.
Well, or weed out Everybody.
Yeah. Everybody.
If everybody's leaving as a result
There
of
are no
it,
hands.
it goes to show
No
that
hands.
it's a management error, not necessarily an employee error. The employees are clearly just indicating, look.
The gall to suggest that Elon Musk, aka the manager, is doing it wrong. It's a management issue. Hello. Just to recap, for those who don't know, Elon Musk provided an ultimatum to Twitter's workforce. Dear Twitter employees, if you are unwilling to work hard and do so from the office, please leave the company. Obviously, as a direct result, the employees who weren't willing to work hard or would prefer to pretend they're working and not actually be in the office, aka not working from home, have left the company. The dead weight and the rot have voluntarily left Twitter as a result of Elon Musk's email. Do these clowns not understand that Elon has purchased the company with an ingrained culture of entitlement? I've said it a million times. The majority of the employees at Twitter are, well, ex-employees now, useless fucking wankers. Free breakfast, free lunch, free dinner, free massage, free yoga classes, free blowjobs under the desk while you're pretending to work. Elon's had enough. The average meal served at Twitter HQ in the last 12 months or so cost $400 per employee. Elon's clearing house. Now, for those who don't know, Tesla's entire autopilot team consists of about 150 people. The team that is absolutely embarrassing competitors who have in excess of 3,000 employees working on similar projects who are years behind where Tesla's at. When Elon purchased Twitter, there was about 7,000 employees. Then around half of them were axed. It seems like another half have since left. This is a good thing. Let me explain. If the example of 150 engineers on autopilot didn't make the point, let me spell it out. There are some people, some employees, who are so productive, so capable, so resourceful, so efficient, and work with such intensity that a single one of these elite employees, mostly engineers, can do the work of 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 others. I'm not kidding. What's worse, these people carry the useless fucking wankers on their backs. It slows them down. If you get rid of the dead weight and the rot, the elite employees will be even more productive because they're not being slowed down by useless fucking wankers breaking shit, doing dumb stuff, asking for help, getting in the way. Elon had the luxury of handcrafting the culture at both Tesla and SpaceX. There are no useless fucking wankers at these companies. They only hire the best of the best, and look how much stuff they get done with such a lean and efficient workforce. Most of the mainstream media is painting the useless fucking wankers leaving Twitter as a bad thing. How are you going to get anything done now, man? How are we going to censor and fact check and delete things? It's the polar opposite. So I just need to jump in here and explain the absurdity of this comment to suggest that this is an issue with management. Oh, lots of people are leaving. Oh, Elon, that was bad, wasn't it? Oh, what are you going to do now that all the people left? That was the point. He's trying to rebuild the culture of this company. Elon only wants people who truly believe in the mission and who are the best of the best and are willing to work their dicks off working at the company. Now, not everybody wants to work their dick off. I get that. If you don't want to work your dick off, leave Twitter and go work for Facebook, or Google, or Amazon, or Airbnb, or any of these other tech companies in Silicon Valley. There, you're not going to get fired for holding hands and singing Kumbaya and spending 3 hours writing a petition to make the CEO of the company publicly share their thoughts and opinions about the current thing. As I've said, and will continue to say, we are seeing in real time how to run a company, how to rebuild a culture, how to insert new DNA, and most importantly of all, how to actually get shit done. Watch how quickly Twitter transforms in the coming months, quarters, and years. The amount of stuff that Twitter's lean workforce gets done is going to provide a very stark contrast between other tech companies in Silicon Valley who do approximately fuck all. Anyway, let's move on.
The
I just want to
workplace
fire up
culture.
She's ready.
Yeah, 1 minute into
She's
the
ready to
show.
clobber me. She's so ready to clobber me.
She walked back over fresh from the Wi-Fi Interactive. And we're firing people up. Okay, so yes, here's what took place. And there's the entire Twitter saga. But I think over the course of this week, that's what really ratcheted it up on the employee-employer relations front, and especially knowing that so many people were already disgruntled with the fact that they had Elon Musk taking over the company that they have worked at for years, that they have been able to establish this workplace culture, and now are either being laid off en masse or seeing their friends laid off en masse, or just deciding for themselves, you know what, I'm not pledging allegiance to a company that I don't know what the future is going to look like. I'm not getting the same type of equity that I would have as when Twitter was a pre-IPO company or even a publicly traded company. So what's the incentive?
Let's review, shall we?
Sure.
Right? I think we can all agree culture is important when you're talking about a place you want to work. Imagine your new boss comes in. He's been insulting you and your coworkers for months, publicly, very publicly. Then he comes and takes over the company, carries a sink in and says, let that sink in. Enters with let's be honest, a really bad joke, right? Like this guy should not be back on SNL anytime soon.
I think there's an intellectual gap that's just unbridgeable here. I feel sorry for this anchor here. She seems to be under the impression that Elon's dumb joke of walking into Twitter headquarters with a sink didn't have any upside. You know, like every news outlet on earth covering the event, drawing attention, making sure that everybody knows there's new ownership. Elon's having a little bit of fun, a bit of a personality, a dumb dad joke. Elon's dumb joke wasn't meant to make people laugh. It was meant to make some people laugh, but the primary intent was to announce to the world, yes, I have officially purchased Twitter. I am now the new owner. Hey everybody, check out Twitter. We're talking about kitchen sinks, it's everywhere. Why don't you check out Twitter? Because I'm Elon and my brain's big enough that you can't understand what I'm doing. But what I'm doing is drawing more users to Twitter. More discussion around Twitter. Hello. I mean, holy fucking shit.
You know, and then proceeds to say to everyone, you're not working hard enough. Unless you sign a pledge to work harder, we don't want you at the company.
What's that saying? Those who cannot do, teach, or in this case, talk. No offense, just observations here, but this is one dumb motherfucker. Do I really need to explain why having your employees commit to working extremely hard and intensely, being fully bought into the mission, do I really need to explain why that is a positive thing for a company? Let me just flip this around. Alternatively, would it be better to be running a company, the vast majority of whose employees actually don't really want to work hard, haven't committed to working hard, and don't really care about the mission? I mean, I can't believe I just can't.
So like, culturally, what does that tell you about the person who is now running your workplace? And obviously it says a lot of people don't want to be participating
Says he
in that
wants the
culture.
best people. What's wrong with that?
Boom. Fucking Brian. He's gone from salty McSultan. I was shitting on this guy a couple of years ago. He was clueless, but he's finally figured out. He's realized that he bought the bullshit about Elon and Tesla. I have to give credit where it's due. Brian has woken the fuck up, and good on him for challenging this idiotic statement. I mean, holy shit. He's sitting across from one of literally the dumbest people on planet Earth right now. Good on him for calling her out. Like, hello.
He already said that everyone there is horrible and has been saying that for months. So why?
Just a couple of things. One, notice she didn't answer the question, what's wrong with hard work? Two, what she just said is false. I mean, literally, completely untrue. Elon hasn't been calling anyone at Twitter horrible. What planet is this dumbass on? You know, we have a word for people like this in Australia. Dumb say stupid things, win stupid prizes. I hereby formally declare this anchor, I don't even know what her name is, dumb. Now, you see, I generally try to be fairly reasonable, except when people say things that are untrue and say them with such a strong sense of conviction that people may believe that their statement is actually based in reality when it is not. Please, I'd love to be wrong. Can somebody please send me the quote where Elon did anything even close to suggesting or implying that anyone at Twitter was horrible? Now, certainly, he's pointed out a lack of competence, a lack of getting stuff done. It's almost like this silly twat over here watches the fake news and believes what she reads in the fake news. After all, she is a member of the fake news. And again, she didn't even answer the question about what's wrong with hard work. She just came with some unfounded attacks and lies about Elon. Am I being a little harsh here, or is this fair criticism?
Why do you want to work for somebody like that?
Well, luckily we don't have to, but I'm just saying, here's someone who's trying to reinvent a platform. I'm not agreeing with his methods here. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I've been covering CEOs and executives for almost 20 years now. I've never seen anything like this before. But I will say this. He has come in here and ripped a Band-Aid off on a company that's been losing lots of money for whatever reason. And you know, it's a horrible situation. Don't get me wrong. You hate to see things like this. But at the end of the day, he's going to be left, you would think, with top performers.
More logic and reason from Brian over here. You know, I'm going to call it now. When Yahoo Finance goes bust, Brian's probably going to end up on YouTube because the guy actually makes sense and actually has something worth saying. Can't say the same about his dipshit colleague.
But remember, he ripped the Band-Aid off, but the company was functioning before, right? Things got much worse for Twitter after he started jumping around and shouting about it. It wasn't a stock winner by any means, but it wasn't completely dysfunctional either as a platform or as a company.
And that's the risk that they run right now. When you have as many employees that have said, you know what, it's 5 p.m., we're logging off of this video conference call, as some employees apparently did based on a report from the Washington Post. There were people who were called into a video conference and were asked essentially to stay after so many people, and it was evident that so many people were about to leave in critical functioning roles to make sure the operations at Twitter could keep them in compliance, could keep them from having these larger issues of privacy and some of the protocols that they had set into place. actually more vulnerable now. And that is the case, is that people's data could be more vulnerable now.
So it is official. We now have two dumb on this Yahoo Finance panel and one guy who makes sense. This idiot has bought into the fake news about there being issues around privacy and data security now. That's right, because if some people left the company, they can no longer function and operate. Shout out to the Patreon exclusive video I dropped yesterday about the 9 Democratic senators calling for the FTC to investigate Twitter over said fake news issues. I just can't believe how dumb these motherfuckers are. Like, I honestly can't believe it. They buy the shit they hear in the fake news as if it's gospel and then regurgitate the same false narrative over and over and over. How dumb can you be? Those who are desperate to control the one true narrative are creating news out of nothing, slander, lies and allegations, claiming, oh, now Twitter's lost so many employees, there's no way they could keep our data safe anymore. And they're regurgitating these points as if these are factual statements about the company now having some issues around data security and privacy. Say dumb shit, win dumb prizes.
People's interactions, I mean, all of the ability for them to operate on Twitter that they have become accustomed to for many years is in jeopardy as a result of this.
I think the Washington Post had probably one of the best write-ups, at least right now this morning, really detailing in some critical areas of the business, there's no employees or one. And you've been following this extensively, Julie, especially on Twitter. You got that sense last night. Maybe that platform might shut down this weekend.
Yeah, people were having trouble accessing certain things. There was this feeling on Twitter last night among, the so-called power users, right, that this was, somebody compared it to an Irish wake, or, people were sharing memories. Twitter has held a really important role in people's lives, even above and beyond other platforms. People have met spouses over Twitter. People have gotten jobs over Twitter. Certainly, those of us in the news business have shared news on Twitter. And Elon Musk, in his tone-deaf way, saying record numbers of users are logging in to see if Twitter is dead, ironically making it more alive than ever.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion, including this guy. Once again, what a idiot. She doesn't get it, does she? Twitter is now more active and alive than it's ever been, despite all the bullshit in the mainstream media. Oh, Twitter's going to break, oh, it's going to... There are more active users now. There's more engagement. There's more activity on the site. Activity is what you want. Engagement. This is the core metric for the company. People on Twitter, tweeting, discussing. Elon is pointing this out, poking the bears at the same time. Despite all the haters and the BS in the media, Twitter's more alive and active than it's ever been. What do they say? Can't fix stupid?
Amid all the chaos at Twitter, Elon Musk announcing that, quote, Kathy Griffin, Jordan Peterson and Babylon Bee have been reinstated to Twitter.
It's official. Comedy is once again legal on Twitter.
Also tweeting, new Twitter policy is freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach, and adding that negative, hate tweets will be maxed, deboosted, and demonetized. Now, he has yet to make a decision on Trump's Twitter account. Joining us now with more on what's happening with the social media platform is Yahoo Finance tech reporter Dan Howley. Dan, a lot of people wondering why Trump wasn't reinstated. I'm not sure what's next at this point.
Yeah, this is an interesting move on Musk's part. And it's also worth noting someone had asked him if he wanted to reinstate Alex Jones, and he simply replied no. One of the things that is going on here is essentially Elon Musk reiterating what Twitter has been doing before, kind of demonetizing, de-emphasizing accounts or tweets that kind of go against their policies. And, even more interesting is the fact that this has been referred to as something along the lines of shadow banning in the past. And that's exactly what Elon Musk is proposing here. So, this idea of unfettered free speech on the platform doesn't really seem to hold true quite yet. He's talked about in the past setting up a kind of council where they'll discuss free speech and what it means. That is going to happen in a few months. But right now, the entire site seems to be continuing to operate despite the fact that Elon Musk had sent out that letter asking employees to sign on to work super hardcore, as he put it, for the next few months to get Twitter 2.0 up and running. And a bunch of people kind of went and said, no, thanks.
It's just so shocking. I can't understand how thousands of Twitter employees could leave, yet the site could still continue to function. It's almost as if some of the employees who are no longer working at Twitter weren't working at Twitter when they were working at Twitter.
Out there, because certainly trending all over Twitter last night, the fear was that the platform could eventually shut down because there has been this mass exodus of employees that Twitter simply would not be able to run. Do you think some of those fears are validated?
They kind of are, right? This isn't necessarily a site that has always functioned well at all. And so now that they cut the staff in half and we had what's reported to be hundreds of people walk out, because they refuse to deal with this demand from Elon Musk. You have to wonder if the site will remain operational. There was some back and forth on Twitter, unconfirmed reports that there's folks who say that the back end of Twitter, the employee version, is starting to slow. It's not necessarily the end of Twitter, though. I know we've been seeing kind of a lot of people hold a wake for the company, more or less, on Twitter, which is, obviously ironic. I don't think this is the end of the platform. It's too big. It's too important for global conversation. But I do think that there's tough days ahead, really, as they try to sort out what they're doing with employees and exactly what they need to do to bring it up to speed, at least as far as Elon Musk's plans go.
We certainly saw RIP Twitter trending on Twitter, as you mentioned there, ironically, as well. Dan Howley, thank you as always.
Well, in a surprising, shocking turn of events, I don't really feel the need to roast either anchor or guest on this particular Yahoo Finance segment. Let's watch the next one.
Tesla, number one on today's list. And guess what? Despite no big news at the EV automaker other than the stock price sinking to a near 2-year low, TSLA is down over 8% this week. A tough one for EV stocks, looking at the Wi-Fi Interactive. As we can see here, that is a 5-day look. Now, Tesla itself has been cut in half this year as growth stocks got hammered, and Musk reportedly sold Tesla stock to fund his Twitter purchase.
A lot of people wondering, with this so much focus on Twitter, Elon Musk already saying, look, he's taken on a lot of work at the moment, still trying to find a CEO for Twitter so that perhaps he could look more at his core businesses, looking at things like SpaceX and looking at Tesla as well. Shareholders don't like all this distraction, I think, Shauna.
Yeah, they certainly don't. We've seen some people like Dan Ives, for example, who has been very, very bullish on Tesla for some time, calling out some of the concerns that he has because of the sideshow that Twitter is certainly posing to Musk right now. I don't think it's a big surprise that we're seeing the reaction in Tesla stock. I think the question, though, now, Jared, you're the best person to ask, though, is how much further it could fall if we do continue to see these complicating headlines come out from Twitter. A lot of concern there about how much time Musk is spending at Twitter versus Tesla. So certainly we have seen that reflected in the stock price recently.
Yes, you got to wonder, what is the equivalent of the assembly line at Twitter? Is it the 10th floor? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting weekend.
Seems like it, at least today.
Yes, I believe so.
Well, hey, he's certainly a tough boss to work for, and as we see, a lot of people were not here for it. They've already left Twitter.
Let's talk about Elon Musk's Twitter takeover, hitting a new bump in the road as the social media giant temporarily closes its offices after a wave of employees parted ways with Twitter. That came after Musk's ultimatum to commit to working, in his words, in an extremely hardcore manner, or he said employees can just walk. Let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley, who's on top of this story. Dan, what is the very latest in terms of this closure and where things stand within the company?
Yeah, so as you pointed out, the open, Musk had this hardcore ultimatum. He had sent a letter out to employees saying that he wanted them to work above and beyond what they were used to, essentially, more or less seemingly upending the culture at Twitter. Basically treating it like he does Tesla or SpaceX.
Good point from our Nintendo-loving friend here. On that, of course, this means that Twitter is clearly doomed because, as we know, what's worked at Tesla and SpaceX definitely won't work at Twitter because Elon doesn't know what he's doing. Rocket Guy doesn't know how to make an internet company. Rocket Guy and Car Guy doesn't know how to make software. Rocket Guy and Car Guy doesn't understand the internet. Well, hang on a minute. But hang on, I'm just trying to, because I remember, like about 20 years ago, they were saying Internet Guy doesn't understand cars or rockets, and SpaceX and Tesla would fail because he was Internet Guy before he was Car and Rocket Guy, and now he's Internet Guy again. Did everyone forget that? First online mapping service, hello. Zip2, PayPal, hello. Yeah, we'll just ignore that.
And he said that, even high performance will be expected regardless. It means working over 40 hours. It means, working weekends, things along those lines. And so, he wanted people to sign this agreement by 5 p.m. Eastern Thursday. And reportedly, hundreds have refused. And so now there are hundreds of people who have effectively been kicked out of the company, or, he said that that's more or less their resignation, not signing on to that letter. And so now there's questions as to whether or not Twitter can continue to function. This is a platform that regularly has functionality issues. People, comment about how there are problems with the technology and how it constantly needs to be updated or fixed in some way. So, if there is a major malfunction at some point, it might not be able to take care of that. It might not be able to fix that and continue to be a viable product. And so, there are conversations on Twitter about how this is, in its death knell, and, we're seeing the end of Twitter. I think that's overblown. I mean, I have my Twitter feed open right now, and, thousands of people are still posting, no problem, likely millions. And so, it's not as though Twitter is going to go away. Musk might just have to roll back his ultimatum, though, and he might have to swallow his pride. Now, this is something that, he hasn't done or isn't very good at doing. He, isn't great at admitting when he's wrong.
Man, he almost got away with it, The first clip didn't say any dumb shit, didn't need to roast him. Most of the way through this clip, no dumb shit, didn't need to roast him. And then he says that. I forget, Dan? Bearded Nintendo guy, I'm just going to call him. No disrespect, I just can't be bothered paying attention to the names of people in the mainstream media. If it sticks, it sticks, and if I don't know it, I'm not going to even bother looking it up. Maybe that's a sign of disrespect, I don't know. Anyway, let's just listen to that one more time to make sure he said what I think he just said before I spit some facts.
He, isn't great at admitting when he's wrong.
I did hear correctly. He did just say that Elon Musk isn't great at admitting when he's wrong. Now, sorry, Nintendo guy, but you are a f***ing moron. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't talk. That is the fatal mistake you have made today, my friend. Do I really need to go dig up the dozens of interviews in which Elon has explained dumb shit that he's done out loud, dumb mistakes that he's made, and how embarrassed he is by how stupid he is? Do I really need to explain how quickly he'll change his mind? Hello? Do I really need to explain this? Elon has got to be one of the fastest humans on earth to admit when he's made a mistake as soon as he realizes. He encourages people to tell him when he's doing dumb shit. If you go to Elon, hey Elon, you're a fucking idiot. This is wrong. Let me explain why. Elon goes, thank you for telling me I'm an idiot. I'm glad we fixed this problem. Most people get butthurt and go, you're fired. It just does my head in when these fucking morons say literally the opposite of reality, and say so with such conviction on a platform that gives them automatic, undeserved credibility. Every person who's ever worked closely with Elon Musk will tell you he's the first to own his mistakes. He demands people to tell him when he's wrong, and he's willing to talk about these mistakes. There are countless interviews in which Elon has explained all of the dumb shit that he's done at SpaceX and Tesla in his personal life over and over and over. I just can't understand how people can be so wrong and then to say something with such conviction. Remember the intro to this video, how I explained the Crisis News Network spent $100 million on a piece of shit subscription service that no one gave a fuck about? And I'm literally almost doing identical revenue and numbers. One man out of his mum's basement outdoing an entire fucking gigantic centralized media network, and how legacy media was doomed because they add no value. They're incompetent, they're morons, their opinions are basically worthless, and they're wrong about almost everything almost all the time. Case in fucking point. Jesus Christ, dude. Honestly, just get better or give up. And I mean that with the utmost respect. I'm trying to help your career. Get better or give up.
This isn't one of his own startups that, he had taken public or, helped take public, as it's the case with Tesla, or put together as is the case with SpaceX. This is an existing company that's been around for years, with him jumping in now just to kind of get it going. And it's a much different experience than starting from the beginning, where you have these employees who are already entrenched in the company's culture, and then to come in and say, we're going to rip everything up and start over. And it may be that Musk has to go ahead and say, look, we have to roll that back. We have to kind of smooth this kind of transition to the new Twitter 2.0, as he's calling it, rather than just trying to, chop it off and start right away. But for now, it seems as though he's going to be without a number of employees just after he laid off roughly half the company.
Okay, we'll see if, potential miscalculation there, still to be continued.
Yeah, that's right. Still yet to determine whether or not it was a miscalculation for Elon Musk to ask the people who don't want to work hard to not work at Twitter anymore. Yeah, I can't wait to find out whether or not that was a good decision, because I obviously can't look into the future and determine whether or not it's a positive thing for the company. It's just too hard to understand right now. So yep, stay tuned for that. Yet to be determined whether Elon Musk getting rid of the useless fucking wankers at Twitter is going to be beneficial or detrimental to the company. I guess I'll have to keep tuning into Yahoo Finance so they can tell me what it means once they figure out what it means, because I can't figure it out myself. I just wish people would not talk when they don't know what they're talking about, or at least say they don't know what they're talking about before they talk. I mean, I did this recently on a Patreon video. If you remember over there, you'll remember. I said in the video, I'm out of my depth here. I don't really know. Like, I think this, but I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. When I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, I will tell you I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. When you have these idiots from an automatic, undeserved position of authority making absolute statements that are false, you better believe I'm going to take a shit all over their fucking useless faces. And the intensity of my reaction and my roasting is in direct proportion to the idiocy and inaccuracy of the things that are said in the mainstream media. If you're that embarrassingly wrong, you will get roasted to the full extent of my ability, you silly motherfuckers. Is that any wonder the legacy media is going extinct? What value do these Muppets add? Now, in fairness, they do make some good points. Nintendo Boy there made some good points, and I have to acknowledge that. But if your good points are punctuation marks between dumb shit that you say constantly, you just got to give up. It pollutes everything you say. You lose all credibility. I'm calling it now. Brian is going to start his own social media channel at some point in the future because his brain appears now to be working. It did take a while, I'm not going to lie. There was a point in time where he had no idea what he was talking about. He was buying into the mainstream bullshit narrative about Elon and Tesla. But he's finally woken up. Proof that he has potential. His cognitive faculties can function. Can't say the same thing about his co-hosts and anchors. And on that wonderful note, if you'd like to wield the hammer and drive one of the final nails into the coffin of the hate stream media, the fake news, the purveyors of the one true false narrative, you can do so by joining Patreon with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment. Remember, prices are increasing on the 20th of November, so if you want to lock in today's pricing, now is literally the time. I'm recording this on the 19th of November, Australian time. Less than 2 days, motherfuckers. So, clock's ticking, you know what to do. And like I said at the start of this video, we're seeing the last desperate gasps for breath from the soon-to-be extinct mainstream media. After witnessing the abominations that were these Yahoo Finance pieces today, is it any wonder the days of centralized, corporate, big media are numbered? I don't think so. And don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm probably not going to be as obnoxious and aggressive in tomorrow's video unless I hear stuff that's even dumber than this, and honestly, I don't know if that's possible. Oh, and if you thought this video was savage, just wait till you see the unfiltered videos over on Patreon, stuff I can't really post on YouTube for fear of being cancelled. So, see you over on Patreon if you can handle it. Love ya.